Hello everybody, welcome to What Culture. I'm Scott, joined by Ewan.
Hello.
Now it seems like there's some things a brewing with Spider-Man that I didn't know, and it involves some sort of arachnophobia type business.
You know what rhymes with brewing? Ewan.
Yeah?
And we're basically the Spider-Man squad now. We're the only Spidey squad. We're just doing Spidey stuff all
Flying
the time.
in.
We keep on coming back, defending Sony, as it were, and wrestling all the Jimmies in the comment section. But yeah, there was Spider-Man Far From Home came out a few months ago, but we're still talking about it because it was a big old film in the MCU, the last of the MCU-produced Spider-Man movies.
Yes.
And one of the best things about that film, of course, was the amazing Mysterio Nightmare segment where Peter basically just gets launched into this classic Mysterio hallucination, and it was the best part of the film.
Very animated series.
Yeah.
It was the thing where in the cinema I went, oh, this is just I want the whole movie of this. Yeah, it would have been fantastic if there was more of it.
I got very, very giddy throughout of it. Now, if you thought that the Iron Man zombie thing was the most terrifying that film got, you'd be correct. But there was a period of time where it got even more terrifying because concept artist Henrik Tam has basically taken to Instagram and has shown off some of these horrific conceptual drawings from an early part of the scene where Spidey is going up against eight-legged freak-style spiders
Should we
in
give
a
an
mystery
arachnophobe
cave.
warning?
Yeah, if you're afraid of Spideys or the little, I don't know, go watch the nice little video of the baby crocodiles on Twitter. They're nice. They sound
laser
like,
crocodiles.
They sound like lasers. You should go watch that. But
stuff.
if you're okay with the bit of the old creepy crawly, but ambush him now. Go, all of them right now. Yeah.
Oh God!
It's absolutely terrifying. They're all absolutely. Spidey's like webbing them and like looking at them, and then some of them are like coming down from the ceiling, and it's just absolutely. Remember when you played Skyrim, Scott? And the first time you came across one of those frostbite spiders, and you're just like,
it's the ragdoll, the way that they move.
It's like that. It looks absolutely horrifying, and probably not the best place in a PG-13 movie.
It makes me think of, because the thing is, that whole Mysterio sequence made me think of the old school animated show, which I love. It's right up there with BTAS, the Batman animated series and whatever. But that whole show had the whole man spider thing, and they've done it in the comics as well.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they must have sat around had the whole meeting as to how they were going to do all these nightmare scenarios, and they sort of this sounds like they're kind of teasing the icon, the look of a man spider. Of something
God,
that's
could you imagine if Tom Holland sprouted 4 extra arms and had a little weird little mouth thing? God, that show was terrifying. I mean,
it was.
They couldn't say blood, and they had to say plasma, and Morbius would get you with his little hand sucker
His little hand suckers.
But yeah, no, that's really cool. I did have some questions though. I thought that this concept art, even though it didn't make it in the final film, I think it's a pretty interesting thing that it's actually come out now of all times. Because not only is Spider-Man going back to Sony, but Marvel are obviously experimenting with more horror-themed content in the future. So we've got Blade coming, we've got the next Doctor Strange film, which is being helmed by Scott Derrickson again, who's obviously he cut the mustard doing horror works like Sinister. So again, that's really interesting, and maybe that's a sign of things to come. That when Marvel actually get the restraints lifted off, they can do some really creepy stuff.
Well, that's one of the things that I love. Like, the whole Doctor Strange with Scarlet Witch thing. They said it's going to be Marvel's first horror. And I like the idea that we've obviously established what superhero movies can be in terms of, but then you treat that as a foundation and you twist the genres out from there.
It's always been what the comics have been based.
Yeah, and it's like Thor Ragnarok had such an identifiable personality and visuals and everything. And I like the idea that even now they were playing with different things they can do with a superhero template. So yeah.
The whole nightmare sequence in Spider-Man as well kind of gets me excited for Moon Knight, because obviously that character hallucinates a lot in the comics, and that basically confirms to me that we'll be getting similar things, even if it is PG-13. It can still be really creepy. And obviously, I don't know if Tam is tied to either Marvel or Sony, but if he is tied to Sony, then maybe we'll see more horror stuff obviously coming through with the the inevitable Venom Spider-Man crossover that will definitely happen, because Absolute Carnage is an event going on over at Marvel right now, and there is there's a big horror focus governing Venom and Spidey at the moment in Marvel Comics, and the whole arachnid phobia stuff.
Here's a question. In terms of Spider-Man, in terms of his sort of general psyche and things that have been played out in the comics, has he ever really picked apart the association he has with arachnophobia and with the look of a spider? Because I haven't seen much of that stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. You think of every other animal-themed character, they do lend to the imagery more so, whereas Spider-Man is red and blue and he has just a few webs on him and stuff. He kind of leans into the banter aspects of the spider.
Well, there's that whole sequence in Batman Begins where he's sort of picking apart why a bat, it instills fear in people and whatever. And most people have fear of spiders. It's the most common fear, alongside I think claustrophobia or whatever. And it's just they've never really sort of gone down the fact that he's completely associated with this creepy ass thing.
Why don't you call yourself the Flyer? Flies are gross.
Yeah, sort of flies are a little bit. Flies are manageable.
Think of anything that crawls to a surface that isn't somewhat scary.
Most things that are going to go up a wall.
There isn't. They're all disgusting.
Hence why you had to be a Spider-Man. But I just think that if they're going to go down that route, they're going to design sort of visual sequences around it, then at least that sort of hints that you could then pick apart something more as to Spidey's mentality, as to why these visions are haunting him in the first place.
Yeah, that's all that I have.
Good.
So yeah, do you want to let us know what you all thought of that story down? We swap positions now. I'm the host, but yeah, let us know what you thought of that story down in the comments below. Does Spider-Man give you nightmares now that you've seen these nightmare sequences? Do you wish that they were in the film? Or are you kind of glad that they got cut? Because I don't know how I would have handled seeing giant Spider-Men coming at me all over again. It's like Arachnophobia or Eight-Legged Freaks had a baby and Spider-Man was in it. But anyway, please let us know your thoughts. As always, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and head back on over to whatculture.com for more news, lists, and articles like this every day. You can follow me on Twitter at EwansRunesThings, and you can follow Scott on Twitter at
@/LP89.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.